Stress is a destructive and ever-present force in people's lives, and what we often do as physios is try and get you out of that sympathetic overdrive so that we can help you hold change better and so that we can help with your pain levels. Essentially what we're trying to do is dampen your fight or flight response, because it is very hard to integrate change if your sympathetic nervous system is in overdrive all the time. An overstimulated or constantly stimulated stress response can lead to a lot of physical changes in people. Stress is something we really take on physically in a number of different ways. The very beginning of it is that you can see tightness and jaw issues from people clenching and grinding their teeth. You can then obviously see teeth issues and dental work that needs to be done as well. Stress also limits the ability of the body to relax and go to sleep and stay asleep and have a good quality sleep, which has huge implications for life quality as well as your ability to heal. An active stress response will also see increased tone in your adductors, your inner thighs, and because your adductors are fascially continuous with your pelvic floor, this can then transfer issues into the pelvic floor and vice versa. Tight adductors and or a tight pelvic floor can create massive issues for the hip. This can then stop the glutes from turning on, and hey presto, you've got back pain. Tight adductors, so tight inner thigh muscles, often also create knee pain. So there are a range of issues that we can see in people physically develop, and one of the things that we need to do is dampen down their stress response. So I thought I would show you one of my favorite exercises that I give people to do this, to dampen down their stress response. If you can get on the ground, lie on the ground and pop your feet up so they're resting on a chair or on a couch or on your ottoman, something that is comfortable and supportive and allows your legs to rest in a roughly 90-degree bend position. You can also do this on the bed. You will need to either bend your legs up or prop them up on pillows. The more relaxed your legs can be, the better. Once you're in the resting position, you want to have a feel of your inner thigh tone. If your inner thighs are switched on, they will feel more ropey and the muscles will feel harder. When they've relaxed a little bit, they'll feel softer and a little bit more like fat. Now visualize the bones that you sit on in your bottom. You want to imagine those bones gently coming wider. You're not trying to force them wide, you're just trying to relax, almost as if your bottom cheeks were being pulled apart. Once you've managed to let these bones go a little bit wider, then think about your tailbone and see if you can just let it soften and let it drop towards the floor. Again, you're not trying to tilt your tailbone down to the floor. You're just trying to let it go. Step 2 is then to think about your thighs. Imagine that thigh bone being heavy all the way down into your hip. At this point, you want to reach down and touch your inner thighs again and see if they've softened. If they haven't, you need to repeat the process. So visualize your bottom bones opening, let your tailbone go, and then let each thigh be heavy into the hip joint, and keep doing that until your inner thighs soften a little bit. Once they've softened a little bit, what you want to do is put your hands on the outer ribs and try and breathe wide. Once the inner thighs have softened, what you want to do is bring your hands up to your lower rib cage and put your hands on the sides of your rib cage. Try and breathe wide and deep. So when you manage this, you'll feel your ribs grow wider, so your hands will get pushed out wide. And try and take a number of deep breaths in and out. And every so often, check back down to see if your inner thighs have tensed back up. If they have, you need to go through the process of relaxing everything again before you start breathing. It is not that uncommon that people are actually using their leg muscles to breathe, which is very inefficient and can create issues all around the body, and is obviously not something we would like you to continue long term because it's part of that stress pattern. Your aim should be to manage about a minute of this exercise without your inner thighs softening. So depending on how big your breath is, that'll be around about 10 to 15 deep breaths. Something that can happen with this exercise if your stress response has historically been very active is that you can feel a little bit lightheaded. So if that happens, you should just take a break from the deep breathing and just breathe normally for a little while. This can happen when you're not used to getting as much oxygen as you currently are, which will often happen in a stressed breathing pattern because people are breathing a little bit more shallowly. So give it a try, and this exercise can really help settle down some muscle tone, so the muscles that are reacting to stress, and just calming down that muscle tone can really help significantly with pain levels. And it obviously also helps the way you breathe, which is really important. If you're someone who found that your inner thigh muscles wanted to turn on every time you took a deep breath, then you want to keep trying anyway. Keep trying to soften the muscles and keep trying to take deep breaths. Don't worry if you can't get the hang of it. It'll come eventually, but your body needs to learn to have a more efficient pattern of breathing. And even just the moments where you're trying to relax and trying to let go will be very helpful. Learning to breathe properly can really help with inflammation and pain. The higher the levels of carbon dioxide in your body, so the higher the levels of CO2, the more acidic your blood will be. The more acidic your blood is, the more irritated your pain receptors are, and the more likely they are to be sparked easily, but also just the less healthy your body is and the more inflamed everything is. So what we're trying to do is to get you to be able to take deeper breaths and get more oxygen in. Because this exercise helps dampen down the stress response, it can help you settle better at night and prepare for sleep. And so it's a really good exercise to potentially look at doing right before bed. Any exercises or recommendations we make in this video or any of our other videos are based on general advice only. If you choose to try any of the exercises in any of our videos, you do so at your own risk. You should never feel pain, increased levels of discomfort, pins and needles, numbness, or anything else that disturbs you while you are doing any of the exercises we discuss in any videos. If you do, you should cease that exercise immediately and seek professional help from your physio or from your local GP. I hope you found this video useful. Please let us know in the comments below if you have any questions.